What's going on, interwebs? Man, we got a lot to talk. From Wednesdays to Wednesdays, we're getting kind of packed. I think I'm going to have to start making a little bit more videos. Some of the things I want to talk about, get you caught up on if you don't already know, which you probably already do. Alright, first off, let's talk about Democratic presidential nominees coming out. Remember how it was last election? And you had Trump versus around 16 other guys. It's going to be like that on the Democrat side this time. So we have, Kamala Harris. She's flawing her campaign from the get-go. She's going to flaw her message with the Medicare for All thing. Medicare for All just will not work. We've gone over this many a times as a nation. It's not feasible. You're talking $31 to $32 trillion over the next 10 years. That is an astronomical amount of money to a country that's almost there in debt. I mean, our debt ceiling is climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing. We just keep raising the ceiling. Sooner or later, that ceiling's going to come crashing down. And with a $32 trillion bill for taking away privatized health care and all that, yikes. It's going to be a bad one. It's going to be a real bad one. Another one on the running as an independent, more towards the left than anything, is Howard Schultz. Says he wants to make a possible run for president. He's the former CEO of Starbucks, and the left are going crazy about it. They are just berating him with everything they can. All they fear is that he'll take votes from one of their far left extremist type people like Kamala Harris and all that. Which, let the man run. Independence, there needs to be more independents running all the time. This two-party system, as you can see just by turning on the TV, is stagnating. They're not getting anything done because all they want to do is fight each other. That's not good for the country. When one side refuses to compromise with the other side, whether it's from the left or the right, because they're both kind of guilty here, that's a problem. That's a problem for everybody that lives in this country. We get the brunt of whatever they do up there in Washington. So, I say more third parties need to come out. It'd be a good thing. Get rid of this stupid two-party system. It's not working out that well. And, so you got those two. They're in the news. That's the big news from the election side of things, which isn't that big of a deal yet. 2020's kind of far off still, and I just don't see the left having anyone that's going to be able to really beat Trump. I hope they don't, because the ones that could possibly beat him are so far left that it would probably be devastating for our country as a whole. The issues of the border wall are still in the news, making headlines. Some of the Democrats are coming around to border defense as another government shutdown looms, though. So, that's good. The State of the Union's back. That's a kind of a win for Trump. He gets to, put it out there, his position on things, and hopefully, if he's smart, he'll bring up some of those people that work on the border and people that work for Department of Homeland Security and have them come up there during the State of the Union, and put their views out there, because they need the wall. They're the ones who actually need it. They're the ones who really want it. They need this money. It's going to help them do their jobs and keep us Americans safe. I don't see why that's so bad. I mean, who would have thought securing our country would be deemed evil by people in our country? That doesn't make any bit of sense. Any bit of sense at all. So, hopefully everything works. That son of a bitch went out. But hopefully everything works out with that. He's got a couple different routes he can go. He can always declare the national emergency, which I'm not sure if he'll do that. But there's another thing. They call it the nuclear option. It's where it pretty much makes it to where you only need 50 votes to get it passed, with the vice president being the deciding vote. So he's got the nuclear option, which is just nuclear in name, no worries, and he's got the declaring a national emergency. But we'll see. He's trying to compromise. The Republicans are trying to compromise on this. We've tried to give them more stuff for DACA, give them more time to have the DACA people, all the dreamers, give them a little bit of something. We're not saying amnesty because, amnesty is a dirty word. But we'll see what happens there. That's still ongoing too. The left-wing media purge after the whole shenanigans with the the Cummington kids, the MAGA hat kids, the whole fiasco the media made about that. Well, over 1,000 people have been fired because of that, or laid off, or however you want to say it. But they were fired because of the things they were saying. And that goes with BuzzFeed, Huffington Post, and I think one or two more companies just cleaned house after that. I think they did it to try to save their reputation, but they don't realize that their reputation as credible news sources are gone. They've been gone. These places aren't credible. Every once in a while they'll put out something that actually is true, but the majority of it's so fabricated. They'll take a piece of the truth, or a piece of the story, and then just fabricate this whole falsehood about it, that it was something bigoted and racist, or xenophobic, whatever phobic they can put behind it, which people are realizing, hey, these ain't the cases, because in today's technology era, everyone's got a camera on them at all times. Every single person has a camera on them at all times. There are even homeless people that have government-paid cell phones. There's going to be film disputing anything that you say, especially if you're trying to twist it in a negative manner. So I think it's good. I think it's pretty good that these people got fired, because they're not journalists, they're activists. That's not a place for you. If you're working at a news company, you need to put your activism to the side and do that on your own time. But while you're working at the news company, you need to be a journalist. That seems like common sense, but these people can't seem to get it right. Roger Stone, he got arrested for the whole Russian collusion thing, which there's no Russian collusion, so I don't know why this is even still going on. But yeah, they arrested him like he was a dangerous fugitive. They had over almost 30 agents armed to the teeth, 17 vehicles. I mean, come on. This is he's 67 or 68 years old. Doesn't even own a firearm. Is no threat to anybody. And they went in there like they were getting El Chapo. It was kind of crazy. And yeah, it was kind of nasty. I don't like seeing the government agents do that. That's not how they should roll. And that's pretty pathetic. But he pleaded not guilty to 7 counts, including lying to Congress and witness tampering, which realistically, he probably won't get charged with either one of those, because you cannot say factual things to Congress if it just slips your mind or something like that, or you forget dates and you say this date when it was actually this date and stuff. There's ways that you can actually say wrong things to Congress and not be charged with the crime because you weren't doing it with criminal intent. And I think that's what they'll see with him. I'm pretty sure. They just don't like him because he's a staunch supporter of the president and defends the president. Pretty much, the deep state is real. It's real. You can see the way that the acting, what is his name, Matthew Whitaker, I think his name is, the acting attorney general right now. You can see the way he's fed up with this Mueller investigation because it's not getting them any closer to what the goal was. The goal was to find something that showed the president colluding with Russia. And they can't because it's not there. It's just not there. They act like Donald Trump's a very dumb guy. He didn't become the success he is from being a dumb guy. Anybody running for the president knows that they can't collude with Russia. I mean, and collusion's not even a crime, so I don't really get the basis behind this investigation at all. I don't get the base. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. I'm pretty sure by the end of it, you'll have a couple of people that have gone to jail for really minor, petty BS that they did on their own time. And other than that, Trump's going to be absolved of all this. But, yeah, last night it came out that Democrats again attacking their own people over assimilation comments. Tom Brokaw, he's pretty renowned, and they threw him under the bus for suggesting that Hispanic immigrants learn English to help them get jobs and to assimilate into our country, to help them become American citizens. They need to learn English. Obama said it. Bush has said it. Countless senators and House representatives have said this. I don't see what the big deal is with Tom Brokaw saying it. It's a true fact. I mean, if you come to America, you need to learn our language. That would help you in America, wouldn't it? How is that? How is there anything wrong with that statement? I don't think there is. It doesn't make any sense. Like, if I moved to Germany, I would need to learn German. That's the only way to be a productive citizen there. If I've moved to Mexico, I would need to learn Spanish, because that'd be the only productive way for me to do anything there. Like, this is ridiculous. It's gotten so to the point that it's out of control. The left is so bad that people just don't get it. People on the left don't get it. They think they're doing something that's so good, and they're moving backwards in time. Like, it's not progressivism, it's regressism. I mean, they are regressing. They are going backwards. They're bringing up all this, they're bringing up racism all the time. They're calling everybody racist, this, that, and the other. If you don't conform to exactly what they want you to be, then you are evil. Then you are a bad person. And no, that's not reality. That's ridiculous. I hope some of the people on the left wake up and see this before it's too late. Before they dig themselves into a hole they can't get out of. But yeah, they kind of have a tendency of throwing their own under the bus. Look at Kevin Hart. Threw him under the bus, no problem. There's a big list. You can go on YouTube and look it up. You can go anywhere, Google it. I hate saying that because I hate Google. But what can you do? Oh God. Yeah, that New York abortion bill is inhumane and is inhuman that it is. Now my state, Virginia, is proposing a bill that would allow abortions up to birth. Up to actual birth. The woman could be dilated and everything. Excuse me. And they think that's just fine. The lady that was proposing the bill, every time they asked her a question, she would stumble. You can tell, I don't even think her conscience would let her. Her conscience is telling her something. You can just tell by the way her actions were. If you read her body language, it was uncomfortable as hell to watch. But, yeah, advocates for abortion they're saying that it's a medical procedure and not a crime. Well, here's a small little argument. There's a man named Dr. Kevorkian who's arrested on all kinds of charges, murder and all this, because he was doing euthanasia. And he wasn't just doing it on his own. These people were coming to him to pretty much be put down because they had some type of terminal illness. And he was helping them die. That's technically a medical procedure. He did it in a medical way. So what's the difference there? Why is he in prison, and all these abortion doctors and whatnot, abortion advocates aren't going to prison? Think about that. That's a little odd. Yeah, that's pretty weird. That's a hard subject to think about. I don't get why anybody would go through a whole pregnancy, and there are people that want to do this. That's why they want to make a bill to pass it, because there are people that want to have a baby full term and then just get rid of it. That's crazy. That's insanity. Like, what is they say for the parents' mental health? Do they not read statistics? Statistically, people that have abortions end up with greater mental health problems than people who never have. People that go and have the baby, even if they give that baby up for adoption. So I don't get what they're saying. And I've gone through a pregnancy, like not me personally, but me and my ex-wife went through a pregnancy, and hormones are crazy during pregnancies. So you can't say for mental health, because some women, not all, some women handle it like champions. I've seen them too. But some women get very upset and everything, just their hormones are going crazy. They're not thinking clearly all the time. Like I said, not all women. Some women champion through it like champions. But yeah, I think this is getting out of control. It's getting out of control. And everyone's so afraid of the Supreme Court overturning Roe versus Wade. Well, do y'all know that the lady from Roe versus Wade, what was it? I think it was Roe, Mrs. Roe, she wasn't even raped. That was her thing that got abortions to be able to happen, because she said she was raped. She came out and admitted that she never even got raped, that she just wanted an abortion. That's fudged up. But does she get charged for anything? No. But whatever. Let's move on from that subject, because that's a nasty subject. Yeah, there's I want to say it's people in the House. Some of the leftists in the House are trying to get "In God We Trust" taken out of the oath before becoming a House member or whatever it is. And they call it extremely offensive that they have to say "In God We Trust." What type of people would find that offensive? You know, I know pagans, and they don't even care. Like, who cares? Everyone's got their own God, except for weird atheistic people that believe in absolutely nothing. And that's strange in and of itself, to believe in nothing. It's kind of kooky. But, yeah, that's pretty wild. There's a petition. What site is it? It's aclj.org/defend in God we trust. You know, there's a petition that's got over 397,000 signatures on it, including mine. And it's to keep "In God We Trust" in the mottos, because this nation was founded on those principles. So head over there and sign that petition if you want. I'll see if I can put a link in the description. And last thing I'll talk about is the U.S.-China trade talks are back on, which is a good thing for the U.S. It's a bad thing for China because China's economy is falling, and it's falling pretty good. We put so many sanctions on them, economic sanctions, that China's pretty much, the ball's in our court right now. They know they have to come to an agreement that we're going to like, or it's going to continue to negatively affect their economy. Which all we want is more trade. We buy it. I mean, pick up anything in your house, and there's a good chance it's going to say made in China on it. I mean, there's a 95% chance it's going to say made in China. Almost all of our goods are made in China. You think if you go to China, it's going to say anything's going to say made in America on it? No. So I like what Trump and them are doing on this one. We need to put a lot of pressure on China. China is an adversary, and we need to remember that. China's more of an adversary than Russia, and that's for sure, because what is Russia? Militarily, they can't do nothing to us. Financially, they can't do anything to us. But China has both of those things, which could cause a pretty big issue, substantial issue for America if they wanted to. But with these trade talks, we might be able to get somewhere. We might be able to get a little bit of extra leverage and, make a little bit of money for our country with import-export deals, So that would be a good thing. But that's all for now. I know that was an earful. That was a pretty big earful, but I'm sure more is to come. Like I said, I'm going to end up having to start making more than one video a week because things have just gotten crazy. Well, y'all take care. Keep it easy as much as possible, and I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Later.